Thursday. Thankful Thursday. Come on in, come on in. It is going to be a conversation tonight. Come on in, come on in. Hello, hello, hello. Come on in. We are going to have a conversation tonight that is going to be quite interesting. So, join the conversation. Hello, hello. Let me know you are here. Where are you chiming in from? Let's talk about the Bible together. Hello, hello. We are going to continue tonight with the conversation about poor Leah. Poor Leah is the topic, the title of tonight's conversation. Leah. Do you know who she is? Chime in. Let's have a conversation. Hello, hello. We are going to sip on our green tea and wait for the people. Again, the conversation is about poor Leah tonight. Hello, hello. If you jump on, let me know who you are. Where are you from? Get in that comment section. Let's make it interactive. Hello, hello. Let's talk about poor Leah. Get your Bible. We are going to the book of Genesis. Okay? Genesis chapter 29. Let's talk about Leah. Okay, so, excuse me. Let's talk about Leah. Genesis chapter 29, verses 16 through 18 is where we will begin tonight. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Chloe. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's start talking about Genesis chapter 29. If you have your Bible, grab it. Verses 16 through 18. Okay, so let's start. Now, Laban had 2 daughters. The older daughter was named Leah, and the younger one was Rachel. Hello, hello. How are you? Thanks for joining the conversation. Okay, so we're in the book of Genesis. If you have your Bible, grab it. Grab it. Let's go to the very first book, chapter 29. Okay? The verse we started with is 16, and we're going to go to 18. Okay, so let's start. Now, Laban had 2 daughters. The older daughter was named Leah. The younger one was named Rachel. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining. There was no sparkle in Leah's eyes, but Rachel had a beautiful figure and a lovely face. So, of course, the man of the story is going to be attracted to the beautiful figure and the lovely face, right? Of course. Okay. So verses 10 and 11 go this way. And because Rachel was his cousin, daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and because the sheep and the goats belonged to his uncle Laban, Jacob went over to the well and moved the stone from his mouth and watered his uncle's flock. Then, this is the good part, then Jacob kissed Rachel and wept aloud. So right there, I've got a few questions. Okay? Um, what? Why is Jacob crying? Is it because he's found a family member that he hasn't seen in a long time? He was, excited to see her and looking forward to seeing the rest of the family? Or was he just simply overwhelmed by her beauty? This beautiful woman that he just kissed, and he's crying, right? Look it up. Look it up. I encourage you. Grab your Bible. Go to the very first book of the Bible, which is Genesis. Go to chapter 29, and you will be able to read it for yourself. Any version you want. The names are going to be the same. It can be the King James Version. It can be the New Living Translation. It does not matter. Check it out for yourself. Okay, let's keep going. So we are moving down to verse number 18 now. Since Jacob was in love with Rachel, he told her father, I'll work with you for 7 years if you'll give me Rachel, your younger daughter, as my wife. Okay? Hi. How are you? Good, good, good. Thanks for joining. So, right there, we're going to pause. Rachel is Jacob's cousin. It's the one he just kissed after he moved the stone so that her herds could be watered, right? That's his cousin. He kissed her, and now he's saying to her father that I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to work for you for 7 years. Free labor as payment because I want to marry your younger daughter. Okay, so let's continue. Agreed, Laban replied. I'd rather give her to you than anyone else. Okay? Stay and work with me. So Jacob worked 7 years to pay for Rachel. But his love for her was so strong that it seemed to him but a few days. So he didn't mind working. Hello, hello. Hey, Sant. Who's that? Santy. Hey, how are you? So he didn't mind working because he was in love with Rachel, his cousin. So Laban says, of course, he agrees. Why wouldn't he agree? He's going to get 7 years of labor from this man. Now, we are not clear at this point what Jacob's age was, but we're assuming that he's a young man who can do his share with the herd, with the crops, whatever it was that they had going on in Laban's family, right? So he's going to get free labor. That's going to be to his advantage. He's not going to have to do anything but give his daughter to this man in 7 years. Okay, so let's continue. They had a wedding next. Okay, so let's read. We are in verse number 20. So Jacob worked 7 years to pay for Rachel. But his love for her was so strong that it seemed but a few days. Okay. Finally, the time came to marry her. So Jacob is excited. He's about to get his wife after working free labor for 7 years. He waits for Rachel. Okay? So they have a wedding, of course, right? But let's continue the verse. He says, finally the time came for him to marry her. So I have fulfilled my agreement, Jacob said to Laban. Now give me my wife so I can sleep with her. So he had been waiting a long time. 7 years he had been waiting for his beautiful, lovely Rachel. And he was tired of waiting. Okay, I done worked for you for 7 years, Laban. Come on, hand over my wife. Okay? But Jacob was in for a huge surprise. Do you know this story? Have you read this story? Tell me in the comments who has read this particular book in the Bible and you are familiar with what will happen next. Is there anyone? Let me know. Lala, hey Lala, how are you? Thanks for joining. Nobody though? Nobody? All right, let's go on. Let's go on. So now we're down to verse number 25. We're still in the book of Genesis. We're chapter 29, and now we are at verse number 25. But when Jacob woke up in the morning, after his wedding, his celebration, they had food, they had drink. They never, broke down exactly what they had. But it's a wedding. It's a celebration, right? So when Jacob woke in the morning, it was Leah who he had slept with the night of his wedding to Rachel. What have you done to me? Jacob raged at Laban. I worked 7 years for Rachel. Why have you tricked me? It's not our custom here to marry off a younger daughter ahead of the firstborn, Laban replies. What type of trickery? Tricked him, right? So check it out. Verse 27. But wait until the bridal week is over, then we'll give you Rachel too. Provided you promise to work another 7 years. Wow. So it tricked this man after he worked for him for free for 7 years. Now he's going to have to work for him for another 7 years to actually get his lovely, beautiful Rachel. The one that he wants. The one that he kissed that day at the watering hole. That's the one he wants. So, of course, what is Jacob going to do? Listen, it's just years. I'm just going to work off those 7 years again because I want my Rachel. Okay. So, verse 28. Jacob agreed to work 7 more years. A week after Jacob was married to Leah, Laban gave him Rachel too. So what I found deep about the whole story from the beginning was the fact that they're all cousins, right? But you have to think about the fact that this is in the very first book of of the Bible, Genesis. So this is when the world was first created. So there were not enough people for you not to marry someone that was related to you in actuality. So it was as normal as the day is long, as different as it may sound to us. It makes perfect sense when you think about what we're reading and where we're finding this reading, okay? So let's continue. So again, Laban gave him Rachel too. So now we have Rachel that's married to Jacob, and we have Leah who is married to Jacob. Okay? So verse 31. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, poor Leah, that's what I said in my short from earlier. Poor Leah. She was sad because she knew that Rachel was the one that her husband really wanted. She knew it. She knew that the wedding was planned for her sister, but her father put her in there, put her in Jacob's bed, and did his trickery. What was she gonna do? She was just a woman. She was just his daughter. She's gonna follow her dad's instructions. She's going to follow his directions. She is going to do what her father wanted her to do. Right? So that's what she did. So she knew from the beginning that she was second fiddle to Rachel. So she was hurt. She was weak. But God looks out for the weak. He sees when you need him. And he is there for you. So let's go on. So when the Lord, again, this is verse number 31. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, he enabled her to have children so that she could get the love from her children. That's what I'm gleaning from that. She's not getting love from her husband because he doesn't love her. He loves Rachel, right? But Rachel, the verse continues, could not conceive. Even though, this is the part of that makes me think twice. Even though Rachel was not responsible for what happened with Leah, Rachel wasn't responsible for Jacob not loving Leah, but still God found it necessary to withhold children from Rachel because he knows what's best, right? He is the ultimate almighty, so God knows what he's doing, right? So, what happened in verse 32? Leah became pregnant again. In verse 33, Leah conceived another baby. Verse number 34, Leah is pregnant again. And verse number 35, Leah gives birth to Jacob's fourth son. So God was blessing Leah up and down, back to back. Every time Jacob touched her, she must have got pregnant. Every verse, she's pregnant again. She's pregnant again. She's pregnant again. She's pregnant again. In the meantime, Rachel is not. So it's not because Jacob is not going to Rachel. It's just that God has decided at that point that Rachel is not going, she's not having any kids right now. This is all about Leah. Leah, poor Leah, got her children to give her love and affection, what have you, right? Because she was unloved. Okay? So, at this point, Leah had given birth to 4 boys: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Okay? Of course, Rachel had to be hurting. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine your husband that you love, that loves you? Yes, that's wonderful. But you want children, especially back then. You wanted to make sure that you gave your husband children, and you really probably wanted boys. But you know, they loved the girls too, but they definitely wanted boys. And Leah had given birth to 4 boys. Rachel was probably like, now what? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Now let's move into chapter 30. Chapter 30. Okay? Verse number 1. Let's begin there. When Rachel saw that she wasn't having any children for Jacob, she became jealous of her sister. I mean, that's natural. Really. The sweetest, nicest, most wonderful person can still fall to jealousy, especially in a situation like this. But anyway, let's continue. She pleaded with Jacob, "Give me children or I will die." Honey. Verse 2 says, then Jacob became furious with Rachel. Am I God? He asked. He's the one who has kept you from having children. Jacob is like, woman, are you kidding me? Why are you coming to me with this? I've been with you. It's not like I'm not, we haven't been together because we have. So Jacob is like, girl, you, you better go talk to God about that. But Rachel, let's keep going. Let's keep going. So, verse number 3. Then Rachel told him, take my maid, Bilhah, and sleep with her. She will bear children for me, and through her, I can have a family too. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That's not what she was supposed to do. But it turns out that Bilhah does have a son for Jacob. So that is a way that Rachel was able to start her family. And soon after that, Bilhah had a second son for Jacob. So now Jacob has 4 sons with Leah, and he has 2 sons with Bilhah, the maid of his wife Rachel. So I guess, Bilhah was given as a wife, what have you, to him. So now he's got 3 ladies. Was Jacob a busy guy? Wow. He spent all that time working for Laban, but yet he made sure he had time to lay down with all of these ladies. Anyway, let's keep going. So Rachel had decided to just take things into her own hands, and that's what she did. And it worked out just the way she wanted it to, because she ended up having 2 sons born by her maid. So what's crazy about that is what happened next. Where we at? Verse number 9, still in chapter number 30, but now we're going to jump down to verse number 9. Meanwhile, Leah realized that she wasn't getting pregnant anymore. So she took her servant, Zilpah, and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Well, you know what happened then. Of course, Zilpah, she got pregnant too. She had a son, and then she got pregnant again and had another son. It's all there. Take the time, please, and read it all for yourselves. It is all there in black and white, any version of the Bible that you want to look up, okay? Now, at this point, Leah feels like she has given Jacob 6 sons. Do you think he would finally treat her with honor and actually love her after giving him 6 sons? I mean, when you think about it, she gave him 6 sons and a maid. So at this point, Jacob's got 6 sons and he's got 4 wives. That's how they did it back then. He's got 4 wives now. So, do you think he loved her now? Honored her as his wife? What do you think? In the comments, tell me. What do you think? Anyway, the takeaways from tonight's talk are that God looks out for the people who are mistreated and mishandled. In your weakness, He is strong. I encourage you, look to God. Always look to God. He's going to bless you as a child of His. He will take care of you. Okay? Number 2, takeaway. Wait on the Lord. Do not take matters into your own hands. Wait. Okay? Trust the Lord. Okay? So I hope that this word has been a blessing to you. It was fantastic having this conversation. This story, like I said, this story blew my mind. So I could not wait to share it. But I hope that you got something from it, and I hope that you will actually open your Bible on your phone, on the app, or your actual Bible, paper Bible, and just dig deeper into the book of Genesis, but especially this story in chapter 29 and 30. And it continues, actually. It continues, but it's no longer about Leah. So that's why we stop there. All right? So be blessed. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Hit that button, that little bell, so that you always get the notifications and come on back for another comforting word, okay? Live again on, what's the day? Thursday? On Saturday. See you then.